Welcome back, SJB, with another morning musing for you. Um, so it's so nice out today. It's kind of warm for a January day. Raining a little bit, chilling on the back porch. Okay, so anyway, let's focus. So the thought that I was kind of meditating on this morning was how, excuse me, how vulnerability is the realest, most raw form of power that there actually is. Vulnerability, the ability to be vulnerable, in today's day and age is a superpower, really. But there's power in it. You know, I talked about this in another morning musing. It was a different subject altogether, but it's the same scene. I was watching Ted Lasso, and there's a character on the team named Jamie. And Jamie is hands down best player, like, you know, seems to have everything. He has the money, he has the fame, he has the recognition, he's got the fans, he's got the beautiful girlfriend, he's got everything, right? But he's a complete asshole. Complete, just a dick. You know, he doesn't really, comes off like he doesn't care about anyone but himself, and this whole thing, right? So in this one scene, they're all standing around in a circle, they're being vulnerable, and Jamie is vulnerable in this moment. And basically in his vulnerability, he reveals really the reason why he's an asshole, right? So everything that he does in his mind is all to please his father and to get his father's approval. That's all he cares about, which is why he deals with people in his life in a certain way, right? And so, but it was in that moment when he decided to be vulnerable that I noticed everyone else saw him. They didn't see the version of him that they thought he was. They saw him, you know. I would even venture to say some of them saw that little boy who was trying to please his father, and they were able to give him grace in that moment. So I say all that to say that vulnerability is not so much about it is about being open, but it's also an invitation. Your vulnerability invites others to be vulnerable with you. You know, it's an indication to others that this is a safe space. And it's also a reminder to you to be your own safe space. You know, like I was talking to someone once, a client. They're a client now. They weren't a client at the time, but we were talking, and they were very honest with me. I mentioned something to them, and in my mind, I wasn't thinking anything of it. I was just really talking about my life experience. And they said I would have never said that to anyone, ever. Like, no one would have ever known that. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the big deal, right? That same exact scenario playing out that exact scenario playing out between that person and I is the reason that they ended up signing with me later, right? So there's power in your vulnerability. You know, I look at vulnerability as the gateway to true, genuine, authentic expression of oneself. And by that I mean, if you can be vulnerable, you can sure as hell be honest, right? First with yourself and then with others. But there's also a level of compassion, I think, that comes with being vulnerable. You know, understanding just where people are in their own process and not trying to force them to come to where you are. But I spent a lot of time being upset about being misunderstood. But I also realized that I wasn't being very vulnerable. And so that vulnerability had to take place in order for people to really understand me. But here's the kicker. Once I reached a certain space, I didn't really care whether or not they understood me. Very interesting. It's a very interesting space to be in. Once you move into that space, it becomes less about performance and more about Consistency, being consistent yourself with your boundaries and your, everything. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. The point of this video, today's morning musing, what I'm thinking about is vulnerability and how vulnerability truly is power. When you are vulnerable, no one can use your shit against you. And when you're vulnerable, you won't try to use anyone else's shit against them. Because you understand that power of being completely just naked in terms of vulnerability. So, don't forget to show a little grace today. Show a little kindness, shine your light, share your gifts, allow them to make room for you. And until next time, be well, stay safe, and many blessings. Peace.